everyone, and welcome to US Federal Contractor Registration's Live Friday. We're coming to you live from the studio with exciting news, tips, tricks, all things federal contracting, and today we have a special show for you today. We're going to take it back to, for those of you who are watching that may have just started a business, we're going to go through building a better business model and how to keep that business. So it's going to be a great show for you today. We're going to go through some of the key things that you need to know for starting a business, keeping a business. We're also going to be talking to you at the end with a special announcement of where we're going to be coming to you guys next. So stick around. We will have a live question and answer portion during this broadcast. So David has put the call-in number into the chat. So if you guys do have a question for me related to building a business, because that's today's topic, or federal contracting in general, feel free to ask that question. Either type it into the chat window or you can call in and I'd be happy to answer your question live. So without further ado, let's get started. So first thing we're going to talk about are some of the key elements to really starting a business. So where do you start? I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day and neither is going to be your business. So you have to have some sort of idea of what is the business I'm going to start and what are some key things that are going to help me to understand what needs to happen. So first thing we're going to start talking about is demand. So is there really a desire for the product and service that you want to have? Really think about this. Does it solve a problem? That's the main thing you want to be able to focus on. Is there a problem that my product or services solve? If we think back to one of the most successful business shows out there, Shark Tank, that's one of the things that all the sharks are always asking. Does this actually solve a problem, or is it just another niche product just like everything else? For example, if we think about the sponge, so I know on Shark Tank one of the most successful products was the Scrub Daddy. So they had someone come in and they solved a problem. Because yes, there's plenty of sponges out on the market, but this sponge was able to solve the problem not having to have multiple tools in order to clean your dishes. So there you go. A new product was born. So that's the first thing, is demand. Figure out, does this solve a problem and will people want to buy it? Number two, let's think about the market size. So how big is your market? Is it that only women are going to want your product, or maybe only veterans? Maybe, certain groups of people will want your product. We want to make sure that the market size is big enough for you to be able to have a profit. And also think about, again, the different amounts of scales that this can go. So is it only good in the residential sector? What about commercial? And then you can also start thinking about, will the federal or local state governments, will they use my product or service? So really think about the market size as you grow. Next thing in tangent with that is market saturation. How many people are already doing what you do? Does it already exist? If you're going to be opening up a bakery, how many bakeries are already in your town? Because you don't want to be doing something that has already been done a lot and it's just going to create that market saturation, because the more people that there are, it's really harder for you to also get your profit margin up because the market's so saturated. So your price is going to have to stay comparable to everyone else in the market. It's just like gas stations. How many gas stations do you see right across the block from each other, and they have a pricing that's off by 1 cent? See right there, that's a high market saturation, so they have to stay highly competitive at all times. Versus if you're the only HVAC service in your entire town, well, guess what? Your pricing could probably be a little bit higher because you don't have as much market saturation where you're at. Next we want to talk about is location. So you always hear this, location, location, location. Where are you going to start your business? Will it matter? Does it matter for you to be able to be remote or be in a physical brick and mortar store? Should you be online? Can you travel? What location is going to be best for your product and service based off of, again, looking at that market saturation? Also, you want to think about pricing. So pricing is another really huge aspect of starting a business, obviously, because the purpose is for you to get some money. We want to get the revenue up. So when doing your pricing research, you want to figure out how much your competition, who are already doing your product and service, what are they charging? Do a quick Google search and see what sort of products or services are going for online versus in store, because that's something that can differ. All right. Also, you're going to need working capital. Now, this is a huge one that we get all the time at USFCR. People want to start a business, but they don't really have the working capital to fund it, especially in the federal sector, since most federal contracts, the government needs you to have the working capital up front. So when it comes to working capital, you need to determine if you are going to have enough money self-funding or if you're going to need to go towards a loan or working with a bank or a private funder. And when you think about this, don't think about it in 1 year. Think about it in the next 3 to 5 years. Reason for that is because most businesses don't turn a profit until year 2. So with that, really keep that in the back of your mind is, do I have enough working capital to keep us afloat, throughout that 2-year building a business transition? And then related to that also is financial predictions. So based off of, again, other people in your market share, make those predictions of where your company is going to be. If you're looking at, okay, it's going to cost me 10 cents for me to order a box of these pens from the manufacturer. I'm going to sell them for $3 a box. Okay, now I have my profit margin. Let me figure out what that's going to be if I sell this many units in a year. So make your predictions of how much product or service you need to sell in order for you to make your financial goals and keep the business running. So you want to find that out as well, not just on a weekly, but maybe also make a monthly prediction, yearly prediction, up to, again, the next 3 to 5 years is where you want to keep that. Also, we want to create a marketing plan, marketing strategy. Marketing in today's day and age is huge. You want to be able to have multiple platforms. So in-person marketing, how are you going to go and reach out to your local community? Are you going to be doing some phone calls? Want to have your emails? Are you going to have social media accounts? These are some of the things that you need to keep in account when you start a business, because the first things that you have to do is find customers, and you can't find customers unless they know who you are. So we got to be good at creating a perfect marketing strategy for your company. And then one of the last things you want to look at is payroll and accounting. This is very critical, especially in the federal space, is to come up with a good payroll and accounting system. Because at any point, if you're doing federal contracting, the government does have the ability to audit you. And so for that reason, have a good either an in-house accountant or a good accounting software so that you have all your ducks in a row, all your expenses are laid out in spreadsheets, very easily to read, as well as any expenses that you incur for the business. Make sure you keep track of them. Keep your receipts, have a nice filing. So now that we kind of have seen a plan for the business and the different things that you need to have in place to start it, we also need to take a look at how are you going to register the business. So registering a small business, what you're going to want to do is you have to go to your Secretary of State's office for your state. And I can have David go ahead and put this on the screen for you. He'll give an example. If you want to pull up, Georgia's is pretty easy to navigate. If you want to search Secretary of State office in Georgia, this is pretty easy. But if you go to your Secretary of State's office for your state, and then on there's usually is a spot for either corporations, businesses, small business. I believe on the Georgia site they have a spot for corporations. And so he's going to show you. We'll click on corporations, and then you can see the different types of filings that you can have for your business. All right, and the fees for filing for your business are going to vary per state, so take a look at your own Secretary of State's office to find that information. The form should be over usually on the right-hand side. Yep, looks like Georgia has it right on the right-hand side for you, so you can go ahead and start that online filing process. So let's take a look at some of the different types of filings that you can have. The first, and probably you've heard of the most often, is sole proprietorship. Now, a sole proprietorship is a single or married couple as far as the ownership structure. And the biggest thing about this is that you guys are responsible for any debt or expenses within the business. So it kind of gets merged into the personal side with a sole proprietorship because there's not as much of a divide. So this is kind of an interesting thing because it's very easy on your taxes. It does have benefits on the tax purposes. It's a little bit easier to file. However, if you are thinking about growing the business, expanding, thinking about the future, maybe a sole proprietorship wouldn't be the first choice because it doesn't give you that option to add employees or partners in the future. The next one we have would be a general partnership. So a general partnership is composed of 2 or more people, usually not married. Okay, and they are both agreeing to contribute money, labor, expenses. They're also both going to share parts of the profits or losses of the business. So it's two people just coming together, just a general partnership. Very straightforward in that respect. You would just have to have a written agreement of stating the different terms of what sort of labor or cost that each one of you is going to contribute into this partnership. The next type of partnership we have is a limited partnership. So a limited partnership is pretty similar to a general partnership, but you also could have a limited partner that is imposed into this. So a limited partner is usually not involved on the day-to-day basis, but they're going to have some sort of involvement into the profit sharing. But it's not going to be, again, just like a plain split between a general partnership. Then you have limited liability partnership. So this is usually for professionals such as lawyers or law firms, accountings. They usually go with this route. So it's going to be different partners, but they don't share the same liability as a sole proprietor or a general partnership. So it's going to be more business liability, less on the self. Then you have limited liability company, also known as LLC. This one also we get a lot. It's very popular. So an LLC is someone who is one or more people, and they have a special agreement for the different provisions, availability, distribution of profits and losses. So it's going to be more of a corporation type of deal without going to a full corporation, if that makes sense. So with a LLC, that also gives you the purpose of expanding and growing. So this is going to be something pretty good if you think that down the line you want to keep this continuing and growing towards the future. And then you have the limited liability, limited partnership, LLLP. That one's a long one. So this one is basically, it's a type of limited partnership, but you don't have, again, the business structure kind of shields the individual partners from any liability. So if you wanted to look into making sure that your partners, again, are protected, it's more on the business than the self, this could be something also to look into. Then you have a few others. You have corporations. So these are those giant companies. So a corporation is more of a complex business structure. So if you have multiple locations, if you're going to be doing, let's see, multiple locations, different branches, that's more of a corporation. There are certain rights, privileges, or liabilities that come with corporations that don't come with LLCs or LLPs. So again, check out your Secretary of State's office. They can kind of go into those a little more in depth. And then other ones we have are nonprofit. So you do have a nonprofit, which would be a business who is not in the form of profits, but is more of the giving back to the general public. A nonprofit business would be something that you would be going for towards grants. It's usually not in a contracting facility. So if you're going in a nonprofit, it wouldn't be towards contracting, it would be more on the grant side of things. All right. So
did you do joint venture?
I didn't do joint venture. You're right. Thank you. So joint venture, I'll talk about that one too. So a joint venture would just be a temporary agreement between two different businesses to come together on a particular business venture. So it's not something long-term. They're usually only about 1 to 2 years long for a joint venture. In contracting, this could be for a particular contract in general. So you could have two businesses that come together to form a joint venture for a contract. But again, they are short-term, so they're not long-term. All right. And that is the business structures. All right, so before we move on to another really key part of building a business, we have a video here for you guys about leadership and what that entails in your business, because this is key to keeping that business going. Take a look.
Anna, I just want to say to everybody, and you're going to hate me for this, but I added a little something extra into this video.
What?
Because you recently won our leadership award.
Oh,
so
gosh.
Don't be too mad at me.
What'd you do?
Hi, my name is David Rockwell. I produce the videos here at US Federal Contractor Registration, and I want to talk to everybody about leadership. What makes a good leader?
Really just walking away with having all the right feelings about knowing what their next steps are going to be. For me, leadership is being able to have the people around you that's learned from you be able to take over and do it on their own.
I would say a good leader knows how to motivate their staff.
A good leader inspires his team.
They leave nobody from the team behind.
What makes a good leader today is a good listener.
Okay, a good leader is someone who can bring their group together by lifting both morale and their productivity goes up, and they're someone who sets a great example for people to follow, no matter if the day is good or bad.
Well, several things. One is somebody that is confident in what he does, somebody that delivers what he says, someone that is able to have a message that everybody understands. Everybody has to understand that message in order to accomplish the goals that are responsible for any business.
What makes a good leader is someone who identifies with the people that they're working with, understands the needs that the group or the company has, and is able to implement ideas and thoughts and processes that are going to help everybody get to that point or achieve those goals.
I think a good leader exhibits integrity.
We recently awarded the Leadership Award to our very own Anna Rose, training coordinator. And I want to go around and ask everybody who works here why they believe that she was the right person who got the Leadership Award.
So it's really easy when you have somebody that takes the initiative, that is connecting every day together, along with every week together, along with every month together, and has a long-term plan, like Anna. Anna's as a superstar only because there's nothing that's going to get her down, and she's always going to connect that momentum.
She won because she has a lot of enthusiasm.
Welcome to our Friday meeting.
Well, she does a great job. Like I said, the energy that she brings to the table is just fantastic. She's very clear in what she says, so people that listen to her are taking the information that she has in a very simplistic way. A lot of people kind of overdo it. She doesn't. She does a very good job.
The reason why Anna won the Leadership Award is because she's enthusiastic, energetic, and she really cares.
So she took the extra time with each person, and not only did she touch each person, but she also went beyond that.
Yeah, Anna Rose is a good leader. Her stepping up to the plate and to offering these trainings and being curriculum-based, she's really stepped up to the plate to deliver. So her hat's off to Anna and everything that she seemed to accomplish in a short period of time.
She saw her potential and she saw what she could do, so she stepped in that spot, and she shines like a star. So she's outgoing, she's loud, she's happy, she's funny, she's a perfect person for that spot.
I think in the past few months, Anna identified where we wanted to take our training program next, what we were missing for us as a company, what we needed for our clients. She identified those things. She put together a curriculum and a plan on how to improve the processes that we already had in place, with a goal and future plans on how to continuously improve those processes to make sure our clients are getting the best training possible.
I hear her on the phone with the clients, and she's really engaged, and I think she's very authentic in her interactions with everyone, and she's genuinely excited for the clients as they learn and grow, and that comes through, I think, audibly when she's talking with them.
So being able to recognize the goals, being able to work with the people and inspire them and motivate them to want to reach those goals, and everybody come to a consensus on how they're going to get there and how they're going to help each other get there.
Aww. David, that was so sweet. All right, well, now that we've done that, well, thanks everyone. I mean, I'm just really honored to work at such an amazing place. Everyone here is just awesome, and I'm just so grateful that I get to teach you guys every single week, every day, and interact with you and help you accomplish your dreams, because that's really what gets me up in the morning is knowing that I'm going to help make an impact in one of your lives, and something I say will click and it'll just change your business. And that makes me happy because I want to see everyone be successful. So thanks, David.
Jesse is in the chat. Jesse Carlo.
Oh, cool.
I want to say congratulations.
Aw, thanks, Jesse. All right, well, talking about leadership is really key, though, for your business. So you want to identify, once you get to the point where it's not just yourself, because I know small businesses, you're starting out and it's just you, or maybe it's just you and your spouse. So that right there is what we call a job. So it's not so much of a business yet, but that's okay, you're going to get there. Then you go from a job to then you kind of inherit a headache, which is an employee. So you start with having to manage people and get them inspired. And that's where leadership really comes into play, is once you get that first employee and making it so that they understand that they're a leader too. Your employees should feel like managers. They should feel like their input matters into the company and the direction that it's going. If people feel like they're integrated into something and they're part of the piece of the greater puzzle, they're more likely to put more effort, more accountability onto themselves to make sure that your company goes somewhere. So I would definitely take the time to spend time with your employees, ask them about their dreams, their goals, help them to accomplish it, and feed into them that what you're doing here at your current business is going to help them to make their goals. Because if they see that your business is a way for them to get their goals, they're going to help you to meet your goals by making your business more successful. One of the ways that you can do that is, as they mentioned in the video, be an effective communicator. So I know it's really easy that if one of your employees does something wrong, you just want to be like, I want to shake you. Be very cautious when you approach one of your employees. Take the time to listen to them, understand maybe the reasonings, and when you're giving constructive criticism, limit it to maybe like once a week. Try not to do it on a daily basis. You want to focus on their strengths, not so much their weaknesses, and direct them to the point where they identify their own weaknesses and start to work on them. You want them to be more shown, not told. So that's a really big thing. So effective communicating. Another thing is to be proactive as a leader and not reactive. So when something bad happens, let's say a machine breaks in your manufacturing plant, the automatic reaction is to freak out and say, oh my God, how are my orders going to get done? You start, pointing fingers and yelling at someone that did something wrong. That would not be considered the best leadership quality in that situation. Instead, take the moment, take a breath. Obviously, it's not an easy thing if something breaks in your manufacturing line. Take the breath, think about it, and be proactive, and have those steps in place to make sure those issues don't happen. And when they do, be proactive in saying, okay, instead of me reacting to the situation in a negative manner, what can we do to prevent this from happening in the future? How can we solve this right now? Let's not talk about blame. Let's just get it done because we need to make sure these products go out to our customers. So another thing to do is with your team, identify the clear roles of what each teammate is going to be doing. So if you have someone in customer service, that's awesome. Make sure that you have clear criteria in what would be considered standard performance, high performance, and then like excellent performance. So that way, when you're really trying to think about, is that employee performing correctly, you have a scale that you can actually refer to be able to show them at their evaluation, hey, right now, you're doing a really good job. You're in about the standard performance. Let's think about some ways that we can get you to above average or excellent performance, because I really think that you have the capability of being an excellent leader here at this team, and I really personally want to work with you one-on-one to get you to that point. That right there is a good leader. So build people up, inspire them, show them that you care, because they're going to want to work for your business, and that's going to help you to be successful. So that is my tips on leadership, which again is a really key to keeping your business, because we talked about all those things to start it, but really to keep it, you have to have leadership. So whether that's yourself or again, getting in someone outside and identifying a key employee, it's going to be the difference, make all the difference. All right, so now that we've talked a little bit about leadership, our leader here, Eric Nellinger, who is our owner and CEO, is actually coming to you. So I'm really excited. He has been on the road, and we have a few cities he's going to be stopping in next. So we want to bring these to your attention. If you are in the following cities, please let us know. Email me directly at anna@usfcrgov.com, and I'd be happy to get you on the list. Let him know that you're located in that city, and then we can get you guys connected. You can ask questions of our leader in person about federal contracting, starting a business, advice to talk to the government, because this guy knows it all. The cities that we're going to be in, first we're going to be in Orlando, oh my goodness, Orlando at the end of March, Charlotte, sorry, my apologies. Charlotte at the end of March, and then we're going to be in Orlando the mid-April, and then that's for the Small Business Expo. So if you're in either Charlotte or Orlando, we are going to be in your cities. And then at the end of April, we are going to be at the 29th Annual Procurement Conference in Washington, D.C. So those are our next 3 cities that we're going to be in. So if you are in Charlotte, Orlando, or Washington, D.C. area, or even, surrounding, and you want to go to those events, let me know, and I will personally make sure that our president touches base with either your booth, if you're going to be there at a booth, or it can arrange a meeting for you guys to meet. It would be awesome. We'd love to meet you in the field and see all the great things that you're doing for your business. So what we're going to do now is see if we have any questions related to today's topic in the chat or a call-in. So if you want to call in with questions, feel free to dial the number in the chat, or you can type them in the chat and David will let me know and we'll get some questions.
We do have a question from Rick.
Okay. Hi, Rick.
And he's with Benjamin right now.
Okay. Hi, Rick and Ben.
They're just getting started with USFCR, and they're curious where they find your trainings on various topics.
Oh, awesome. So my trainings are available. We do have the Advanced Procurement Portal, which you'll have access to as one of our clients. You can log in there. We have a whole learning portal with 6 different lessons for you to take a look at. And then my trainings, I do them once or twice a day on bid training. So I'm not sure, Rick and Ben, if you guys have access to the bid training or if you're where you kind of fell as one of our clients. But if you have bid training, I do run those Mondays at 4, Tuesdays and Wednesdays 1 and 4, Thursdays at 4, and Fridays at 11 a.m. And then I am live with the Wednesday Masterminds with myself and our president, Dan, on Wednesdays. And then we do a Friday 2 p.m. live as well. But Rick and Ben, if you guys want to send me an email after this, I can take a look at your account and see if you have bid training and kind of see what we can do as far as training. I do have some YouTube videos as well on our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe and see some of the past trainings that I've done on there as well.
Putting your email up on the screen.
Awesome. This is my email. Oh, that way. My Vanna White moments.
And hey, since we were talking about conferences, do you want to talk about our conference?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of conferences, we're actually doing a conference right here in St. Pete, Florida. So if you are a veteran who is watching and want to get started in federal contracting, maybe you're just starting the business or haven't gotten your first contract, definitely come to this. It's going to be at the end of March, March 30th at the St. Pete Yacht Club. And right now the tickets are BOGO, so it's pretty inexpensive to go, which is awesome. We do have them BOGO right now. If you are a veteran, we want to see you there in person. It's going to be about 4 to 6 hours. What is it, 6 hours?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's about 6 hours. We're going to have some great content on how to leverage your veteran status to win a federal contract, what that looks like. It's going to be a great day. And it's a Saturday, so you can always fly in on Friday, spend the day with us in sunny Florida, fly back on Sunday after you hit up the beach.
Nice.
Yeah.
I also put the link in the chat for that.
Awesome. Yeah, click the link in the chat. Definitely sign up, and well, I would love to see you there. It'd be great.
That's all the questions we have for now.
Okay. Well, if that's all the questions we have for now, then I guess I will see you next week on the Friday Live, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. If you're up north, bundle up. If you're down south, put on sunscreen, and I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.